Welcome back to Mastering MMA with Coach Lee. I'm here with you today, and we are going to talk about the biggest lie in martial arts. So basically, the thing is, I would have to say this is true, but it needs an asterisk. And the biggest lie is size doesn't matter in martial arts. And the reason that's the biggest lie is if you've ever done it and you were going with somebody of similar skill level that's a lot bigger, you know real quick that they are a lot bigger. So the reason I say it's not a pure lie because there is exceptions, and that being the difference in skill level. So when I'm saying size doesn't matter as a lie, size can be overcome, right? But it definitely matters. The larger the size difference, the more the skill gap has to be to overcome that size difference. So I hear people all the time, and I have people getting arguments with me about this, on Facebook, posts or Instagram posts or whatever, talking about how that size doesn't matter, but it does 1,000,000%. So if it didn't matter, we wouldn't have weight classes. If it didn't matter, people wouldn't cut weight. If size didn't matter, people wouldn't do strength and conditioning, right? These are all things that all fighters are doing, right? I'm not going to say all fighters are cutting weight, but for the most part, almost everybody's cutting weight. Almost everybody is strength training. It makes a huge difference. I mentioned before when I was fighting at 155 pounds, I was huge for 155 pounds. And I felt like I was grabbing a hold of little kids, right? And if that isn't a major advantage, I don't know what you would consider a major advantage. With that being said, size isn't the end all of everything. Speed matters, right? Sometimes you can beat size with speed. Sometimes you can beat size with technique. It just all depends, right? The greater the difference is, the greater the difference in whatever you're going to beat it with has to be, as a general rule of thumb. Right? Sometimes you get smaller guys that can be so much quicker than the big guys that they can stay out of harm, right? They can move it so fast and get out of the way and just make things happen quicker than the big guy, so the big guy doesn't get a chance to actually use his size. So that's one way. Sometimes it's just a difference in skill, right? If there's a huge gap in the skill level, that'll make a huge difference also. But if the skill's relatively close, all things are relatively close, but there's a big size difference, you've got to take the big guy, 99 out of 100 times, 97 out of 100 times? It's quite an advantage, right? If all things are pretty close to equal, that's a huge advantage. I know when I was a blue belt, I had a guy in an arm bar. I was laying back into it, and this was in practice, and this was a big guy. And he literally did a bicep curl and curled my whole body back in, right? And it was the most ridiculous thing. But it was proof that size matters, right? Because here I was pulling with everything I had trying to finish this armbar. Granted, it wasn't perfect technique. And same situation now, I would be able to finish that armbar, right? But it wasn't bad technique. I mean, I was a blue belt. I wasn't brand new at this. And he curled me back up, right? And eventually got out of the armbar. So that's another way that I can give a reason why size matters, or proof that it matters. So while we're on the subject of size, when training, you want to work with lots of different size people. I talked in a video not too long ago, and I'll put the link here to it, about different skill levels, working with different skill levels. You also want to work with different size people, right, of different skill levels, right? The more variables you can work with, the better prepared you are going to be to meet somebody that you haven't trained with or haven't fought before, or just have limited experience training with or fighting against. So the thing is, like little guys go, 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 go. They don't get tired. They're constantly going at it, right? They don't stop. They move constantly. They move fast, right? Where big guys in general are slower, and they take more breaks, right? And use more power moves, right? If you watch a 125 pounder versus a 250 pounder, right, that is two totally different things. Sorry about that. My pit bull saw somebody go by on a bike, so he was letting them know that we're out here. But anyways, so back to training with people of different size. If you're a big guy and you're working with little guys and you try to hold back on just muscling them, and I'm not saying don't use your muscle at all, right? Use it from time to time. But when you're training with little guys, try to deal with their flow. Try to let them move, because they will go so many different places. In general, they're going to be moving a lot more, right? And if you don't just hold them down, you're going to get a lot more different looks, right? As far as positions and submissions and everything. So they're going to give you a lot more looks in a shorter amount of time than you'll get with the big guys, right? Vice versa, if you're the little guy rolling with the big guy, you're going to learn how to deal with some of that weight and pressure, right? You're going to learn how to escape pins better. You know, if you can get out of bad spots with big guys, when you got a guy your size on you, you're gone, right? No question. Just like a ghost. 1 minute you're there, the next they don't see you. So if you can get good at that stuff with the big guys, when you're going with the little guys, it's so much easier. I kind of talk about that concept with passing guard and the gi, right? If you get good at passing guard and the gi, you're used to people hanging onto your clothes as you're trying to pass. When they don't have them, it's like a hot knife through butter when you're passing guard. It's so much easier. That's actually, I probably think it's the biggest thing that you get out of gi when it comes into fighting is learning to pass guard. It's so much easier without having to deal with people grabbing your gi. But I'm off topic. Let's talk about these size differences. So you can get work from both people, right? But you have to kind of figure out how to use your body type to get the most work out of it, right? If you're a big guy and you're just holding the little guy in one spot, right, that's not doing anything for either of you all, right? Obviously, you can do that. You can just pin them there and sit there and, you know, win your practice on points. But that's not what practice is about, right? Practice is about getting out of your comfort zone and learning new things. So if you can commit yourself to doing that, to going for stuff and not just sitting in your comfort zone and doing the same things that work over and over again, you're going to get a lot better. And you can do that with people of different size, and you will get a lot of different looks from a lot of different people. Now, as I'm talking about that, I'm definitely not saying if you're a big guy, you should just work with little guys or vice versa. If you're a big guy, you need to work with big guys too, right? If you only work with little guys, when you get in there with somebody your size and that strength difference from what you're used to training with to what it is now, you're going to find out a lot of stuff does not work, right? Because they can match power for power. And they might be bigger and stronger. They might not be, right? You get different things for different fights. But my point being is you need to work with all different sizes, all different skills, right? We talked more in detail about the skill in that other video, but this is using the size difference will give you different looks too, right? And then when you start combining that with difference in skill, like you can get so many different looks and you're going to learn so much better. That's an advantage of being in a big gym, or a gym at all, is having multiple training partners, right? Everybody moves a little different. Even if you've learned from the same people, you're not going to play the exact same game as the other person that's learned from the same people. You know, you'll pick up different stuff at different speeds. Some things will stick for guy A and won't stick for guy B, and vice versa. So the bigger your gym is, the more training partners you have, the better off it is for you, because you're getting lots of different looks. You're going to learn faster. So if you haven't checked out that other video, please check it out. Also, you've still got time to get into this current $50 giveaway, so make sure you get that. I will put a link for that here too, and there'll be one at the end. At the end of the video, there'll be a link there to click on to get into that. Make sure you join the Facebook group. It's growing. I'm trying to do a lot of giveaways on there. I'm hoping once it gets big enough, we can get some exclusive discounts for the Mastering MMA Facebook members, and I'm just trying to grow all of this, right? And I'm trying to make this a community, just as the gym is as a community, right? I want to make this our internet community, be able to share things, and I want to help you guys out. If you have any questions about anything, put them in the comments, right? I've done multiple techniques for people that have asked about them, and discussed some things that people have asked about. So this is my take on the biggest lie in martial arts, is that size doesn't matter, right? So that skill levels difference makes a huge difference, but size can also make a huge difference if the skills are similar. So just something to keep in mind there. If you haven't yet, please hit like on this video. If you got something out of it, picked up even just a little bit of information, click like for me, share the video, right? Maybe somebody else is going to get a little bit of information out of this. It's going to help them out, make our community stronger, right? Let's all become better fighters, better human beings here. And also, if you haven't, hit subscribe. I've only got about 50% of my viewers are subscribed. So hit subscribe and that notification bell so you catch all these videos. And we will catch you next time on Mastering MMA with Coach Lee.